I had it in my head that he'd stay out and make most of the track position, but he is coming in. He'll obviously have always a free pit stop.
Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I. Just you and I. Only you can put my fire out. You can turn it all around. And you can lift me off the ground so we can fly again. 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 I get lost sometimes and I can't seem to find a light between the walls I built for myself right in my mind. And then you came over and you showed me love that I never had seen before. And now when I got you, it's all gonna be alright. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I. Just you and I. Only you can put my fire out. You can turn it all around. You can lift me off the ground so we can fly again. 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 I've been trying hard not to go out of my mind. And all I need right now is for you to stay the night. But if you keep saying that you've got to leave, then I'm gonna be alright. As long as you tell me that we ain't running out of time. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I. Just you and I. Only you can put my fire out. You can turn it all around. And you seem to find a light between the walls I built for myself right in my mind. And then you came over and you showed me love that I never had seen before. And now, when I got you, it's all gonna be alright. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I. Just you and I. Only you can put the fire out. You can turn it all around. You can lift me off the ground so we can fly again. 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 I've been trying hard not to go out of my mind. And all I need right now is for you to stay the night. But if you keep saying that you've got to leave, then I'm gonna be alright. As long as you tell me that we ain't running out of time. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I. Just you and I. Only you can put the fire out. You can turn it all around. And you can lift me off the ground so we can fly again. 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 We can fly again. I get lost sometimes and I can't seem to find a light between the walls I built for myself right in my mind. And then you came over and you showed me love that I never had seen before. And now, when I got you, it's all gonna be alright. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I. Just you and I. Only you can put the fire out. You can turn it all around. You can lift me off the ground so we can fly again. 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 I've been trying hard not to go out of my mind. And all I need right now is for you to stay the night. But if you keep saying that you've got to leave, then I'm gonna be alright. As long as you tell me that we ain't running out of time. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I. Just you and I. Only you sometimes and I can't seem to find a light between the walls I built for myself right in my mind. And then you came over and you showed me love that I never had seen before. And now when I got you, it's all gonna be alright. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I. Just you and I. Only you can put the fire out. You can turn it all around. You can lift me off the ground. So we can fly again. 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 I've been trying hard not to go out of my mind. And all I need right now is for you to stay the night. But if you keep saying that you've got to leave, then I'm gonna be alright. As long as you tell me that we ain't running out of time. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I. Just you and I. Only you can put the fire out. You can turn it all around. And you
Testing 1 2 3. Testing the mic. Right, we're on. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies for that horrible, nasty little sound that you could hear in the background at the start of the stream has now gone. It appears it was the YouTube tab on my computer for some reason was making that evil sound. I do not know why. I really don't. But we're here for the sprint race here in the Porsche Supercup at Paul Ricard, and currently we've got a very unusual situation at the front right now, in that Will Friedman is in second place at his home track. This is quite a turnout for the books right now. Ryan Ruby leads by just over a second to Will. We've got Luke van der Streets running in third place in that final podium spot, 3 seconds off at the back of the front two, with RaKi just over a second behind him right now. RaKiMaJe in fifth, deedeeTKU running in P6. We've got Lightblade coming in as a very late stand in reserve tonight, running in 7th place here in this race. He started at the back, he's made his way back through the field a little bit so far. Idris on his Motive Racing debut in 8th place at the moment. Exer on 9th. Giovannini at the back, racing in his first appearance as a reserve in the Porsche Cup tonight. Good to have him out on track. We're expecting a couple more to jump in for the feature race coming up later. We got a few guys who couldn't make it for the first race, but they will be here for the second race. But right now, Ryan and Will Friedman out the front, trading lap times at the moment as they are showing the way to everybody else. We've got RaKiMaJe and Didi pretty close as well in P5 and 6, but Will Friedman will be a bit unaccustomed to seeing another car in front of him in the sprint races there at Motive in the Porsche Supercup. We've seen many times in the past he's opted to start from the back in the feature races, but right here he actually set a lap time. He qualified in the qualifying session, but found himself behind Ryan, and so far in this sprint race hasn't been able to get ahead of him. So big up Ryan Ruby for taking the fight to our Porsche Supercup champion here at Motive. Absolutely brilliant job here from Ryan so far. Really well done to you, mate. And yeah, this looks set to be a very exciting race here between these two. They're pulling away they continue to pull away as the race goes on to Luke van der Streets, who's got just under a second back to RaKi. We've got RaKi's son Jalram, also his teammate in the F1 on a Friday night in the Red Bull. We got him. He's been in the chat supporting his dad, and he's currently looking to try and get himself onto the podium if he can ahead of Luke. These guys are a second and a half ahead of RaKiMaJe at the moment. Didi is dropped off at the back of RaKiMaJe, and he's now got Lightblade very much for company here in P6 and P7 as Idris is running in 8th, Exer on 9th, and Giovannini a long way behind in 10th place. Not been the opening couple of laps to the race that Giovannini would have wanted for sure, but the gap staying very consistent right now between Ryan and Will, just over a second between the two of them. RaKi is currently trying to hunt down Luke if he can. We'll be able to see whether or not he's running a high downforce setup or whether he's got it trimmed down for this very long straight. It's about a mile long. Looks like RaKi not making too much ground up despite being in the slipstream, so I would hazard a guess that he's maybe got a bit of downforce on his Porsche, the number 43, that red and blue. I always be seeing getting very sideways there, holding on to it, but yeah, I think he's got a little bit more downforce on his car than Luke has on his, which is meaning that he's right up his bumper coming out onto that straight. But then once we get down halfway down the straight, Luke just seems to have the edge over him, and right now Luke van der Streets has the measure over RaKi, but these two very close on the track. Will still can't get around Ryan Ruby, 0.8 of a second between those two. RaKiMaJe as well and truly gap deedeeTKU. Didi's got about a second back to Lightblade running in 7th as he gets a bit of a slide on there. As you do in these Porsche Cup cars, they're very slidey indeed. Idris there running in 8th place. We've got Exer on 9th. Giovannini continuing to drop off of the back in P10. I don't know if he's got a bit of damage on his car, but he seems to be struggling a little bit. Will's got the gap down to half a second here to Ryan Ruby. He's continuing to take the fight to him. Look at this, it's looking very tight indeed between these two at the moment, but Will still hasn't been able to find a way through ahead of Ryan for the time being. Luke still running just ahead of RaKi. RaKi looking all over the back of him here, coming up towards turn 3 though. Is he going to go for a late dive up the inside? No, for the time being Luke has enough to hold on to that one. RaKiMaJe still running in 5th. Didi has got Lightblade now bearing down on him. That gap is less than 1.5. You see it says that on the screen, but that was at the last sector checkpoint. The gap is now less than that. I'd say it's about 1.1, 1.2. Yeah, it is 1.1. So that gap's coming down between those two. Idris there in 8th. You got Exer on just behind him, 0.8 of a second off at the back of him at the moment. So battles throughout the field here for this sprint race here for the Porsche Cup, round 5 of the season at Paul Ricard for season 3 of the Porsches at Motive Racing. Ryan's got the gap at just over a second once again to Will, so he's managed to gain a little bit through that first sector there, but Will's just keeping him on his toes, and these two very evenly matched at this stage in the race, it would appear. Ryan obviously got taken out last week in the sprint race through no fault of his own, got speared into by OPT Funny Guy Racing as a reserve. Can't really fault him too much, seeing as he was a reserve. He doesn't regularly race in this series, but nonetheless Ryan was very, very peeved, to say the least. He did put in a stewards inquiry, which we're still yet to get back to, but it's a pretty black and white. I'm pretty sure that OPT Funny Guy will get a penalty of some kind. The harshness will definitely be alleviated down to the fact he was a reserve, but even so, there'll probably be some kind of penalty. But Luke still running in third at the moment. He's got RaKi hunting him down. These two bumper to bumper. RaKi's been on the back of him for some time, but still hasn't been able to find a way through. RaKiMaJe just watching this unfold in front of him, not too far off the back of these two. If they have a little crash, then he'll be there to seize the initiative. We'll be sure about that. DD running in 6th, Lightblade 1.2 off the back of DD, with Adris and Exeron still fighting it out for 8th and 9th place in this race. But Ryan doing a good job right now, managing things out the front, currently showing everybody how it's done here at Paul Ricard. Will, though, keeping him very much on his toes at the moment. These two have gapped Luke and RaKi by over 8 seconds. So Ryan and Will currently in a class of their own here tonight. They seem to have a little bit more than the rest of them out here at Paul Ricard. And we've got Luke still running in third. He's still keeping RaKi at bay just about. But RaKi's going to be wanting to throw caution to the wind pretty shortly. RaKi, also one of our racers in the F1 League on a Friday night on the Codemasters Formula 1 game, drives in the Red Bull alongside his son and teammate Jelram, who's been in the comments tonight giving him some support. Well, he's been in the comments, but saying there that RaKi's struggling down here, yeah, a little bit, but yes, currently Ryan leading the race by 0.6 of a second right now. In fact, no, it's less than that. Will's really closed the gap here, coming down the back straight. Is he going to be close enough to make the move here? No, for the time being. Ryan still remains ahead of him, but very, very tight racing between these two, as Will look like he was going to have the upper hand there, and Ryan gets a huge slide there, which Will isn't able to capitalise on. Still just behind him at the moment, but I thought for a second there that was going to be the lead going there for Ryan Ruby. He's going running ever so wide coming through that part of the track. We've got Game for Life here saying hello game here, wish everybody the best of luck, especially RaKi doing a good job here, Game for Life, but he's currently still not able to get ahead of Luke van der Streets in this battle for the final podium spot. Will Friedman hunting Ryan Ruby, looking everywhere, looking to try and find a gap if he can, but Ryan is not presenting the opportunity for him in any way, and is still holding on as they're coming down the start finish straight for the 6th time here in this race. Will Freeman looking to the inside, trying to distract Ryan if he can in the mirrors, but Ryan not taking the bait in any way. Up towards turn 1 they come, and Ryan still holds the lead for the time being, but Will's pressuring him and looking for any possible route around him here. Luke van der Streets is still just ahead of RaKi coming up towards turn 1, 4/10 between those two, and they got now RaKiMaJe really closing the gap on them here. So RaKiMaJe is only 0.8 of a second back off with these two, so that is now going to be a three-way battle for the final podium spot. DD running in 6th. He's got Lightblade within 0.7 of a second of him now. Lightblade's been bringing that gap down over the last few laps. Also Edris and Exeron separated by about half a second right now. Ryan still 0.7 of a second ahead of Will Friedman, and Will is continuing to bear down on him, but just hasn't really had the opportunity to send one down the inside. He hasn't been in that sort of range coming down to the end of any of the straights in towards the braking zones. He hasn't been alongside, he hasn't really been within 2 car lengths, let alone a car length of Ryan Ruby, but down the back straight they come. Will once again getting a decent toe. He's actually ducking out of the toe there, just trying to distract Ryan, trying to get him thinking twice a little bit, but for the time being, as they come down to the end of the back straight, Ryan still has that lead. He's had a couple of shaky moments though coming through this corner the last couple of laps, seems to get a bit slidey through there, but he's holding on to it this time. This is the part of the track where you really see that back end start to step out, but he's very much just marshalling that really nicely. He's keeping it under control, and you've got to take your hat off to Ryan, because he's driving a very disciplined race out the front here. Not easy when you've got a man like Will, who is used to he's used to having it easy. I mean, not easy for him, obviously. He still has to drive very fast, and he's very good at it. But you know, yeah, what I'm trying to say here is that he is used to having that little bit extra over these Porsche Cup drivers, and now obviously he's got somebody in front of him who's more than his match around this track in these cars, and Ryan is just parking his car in all the right places. He's being very wily about how he's going about this race, and with less than 6 minutes to go here in this race, he could be on for his first win in the Porsche Cup. I believe it would be his first win. I'm not 100% on that. There were a couple of races this season I haven't been able to commentate on, but Will's got the run here. Oh, Ryan definitely parked his car there on the corner, just put his car in the exact place where Will couldn't get around him, and remains in the lead here by half a second ahead of Will. But wow, this is really heating up between these two. Luke's just ahead of Hegemars. Hegemars has got ahead of RaKi, and Hegemars now looking to try and make it 2 overtakes in the space of a couple of corners there. RaKi down to 5th. Hegemars all over the back of Luke van der Streets now, as now RaKi's on the back of this trio, and they've got Lightblade now reeling him in. Now Lightblade's ahead of deedeeTKU into 6th. Lightblade could be sensing a podium finish here in this race. What a driver that would be for Lightblade from P10 on the grid. He's now in for 6th, and he's got these 3 drivers battling over the podium spots just in front of him on the track. Down the back straight they come here for the 8th time here in this race. Luke, Hegemars and RaKi separated by 0.8 of a second. 1.8 back to Lightblade, further 1.6 back to Didi, who's dropping off the pace a little bit in the later stages of this race. Exeter on the 8th, Idris 9th, and John Jig running round in the final top 10 spot here in this race at the moment. But here we go, Luke, Hegemars and RaKi separated by not very much at all here, as we're on currently lap 8 of this race, as RaKi now looking to the inside of Hegemars. Is he going to get that move done? Hegemars getting very loose there, that back end really stepping out by quite a bit, but RaKi there getting himself up into 4th place. Beautifully done there from RaKi, very routine stuff, and manages to get that position back, having lost it to Hegemars at the beginning of this lap. But that's given Luke van der Street just a moment to breathe there in 3rd place, and that's given him a bit of a cushion. It's now almost a second between him, Hegemars, and RaKi still just behind. Lightblade running in 6th, hasn't made the gains that he would have wanted to, but having said that, he's on the back of Hegemars. Yeah, I was looking at the timing board there, that's just me exposed there, isn't it? All I do is stare at the timing board, don't even pay attention to what's going on the track. But Lightblade here within a second of Hegemars right now. Luke van der Street still sat in 3rd place. Will still can't get around Ryan Ruby right now. 2/10 between these two, coming down towards turn 3. Still hasn't been able to find a way through. He's closer though than he has been over the course of the last few laps, so he's just looking, isn't he? He's just waiting. But that opportunity just hasn't seemed to bestow itself upon him at this point in the race. Luke, RaKi and Hegemars still running very close here. Lightblade bringing this gap down. He's dragging Didi with him as well. deedeeTKU, oh, as I say that though, gets a big slide there coming through turn 4, which would have lost him a bit of time. He's now got Exeter on very close on the back of him. Idris still not a million miles away from these guys either, so it's now looking like a pretty tightly packed race here, from all the way down from the podium spots down to the mid pack, down to the 8th and 9th places here. Exeter on looking to try and make this move here on Didi. Didi's going to have the inside all the way down the back straight. Not that that's going to count for too much down a mile of just plain drag strip, but Exeter on the outside looks like he might now have the legs. He's starting to get ahead of steam here on Didi, and he's going to maybe get this move down the end of the straight. We'll have to see as they bear down on the braking point here. Here they come, side by side in towards the braking zone now, and Didi's going to have that inside line. Brakes a little bit later and holds on to the position, goes a little bit wide on the exit of the corner, but he holds on for now. Ryan still just ahead of Will. Lucas managed to gap RaKi and Hegemars still hunting RaKi, but RaKi's holding on for the time being. I haven't got that move back on him a couple of laps ago. We saw them swap positions on the laps on the lap 2 laps ago, but Lightblade running in 6th place just behind these guys is keeping them on their toes. Didi and Exeron, we saw them two going so close down the back straight. Didi still holding on for that P7. Idris very close on these guys as well. So much going on right now, it's difficult to know where to look, but Will still can't find a way ahead of the race leader Ryan. Ryan's led since the outset here of this one, and it's looking like he could be on course to take his first win in this Porsche Cup here at Motive Racing. What a job it'd be from Ryan. Took a couple of wins in the GT4 Tier 2 last season. As he throws, oh, Will's going to chuck it down the inside and just about doesn't work out, but Ryan there closed the door. Ryan must have been absolutely at that point. Honestly, if I was Ryan, I would have been absolutely bricking it at that moment. Will looked like he was going to send one down the inside, but just didn't come off for him, and Ryan still has the lead at this point, but that was incredibly close there between those two. Luke van der Street's still running in third place at the moment. He's 15 seconds behind those two who are completely dominating this race. RaKiMaJe, Lightblade, 4 cars in a line here, battling over third place. deedeeTKU, Exeron and Idris still running within a second of the 3 of them. Idris keeping these 2 on their toes here in the final part of this race. Ryan and Will separated by 2 tenths down the back straight. We're probably going to have one more lap after this, I would imagine. Freeman there saying that was a close one. It was very close indeed. And we can see here Will looking down the inside, trying to put Ryan under increased pressure here. Ryan's got better through that corner over the course of this race. In the early few laps, I was noticing he was very slidey coming through that part of the track. Oh, Will's gone deep, and has that going to have lost his opportunity to take this win? Ryan would have been hoping and praying that Will would have made a mistake like that. He's finally gone and slipped up a little bit, and that has given Ryan a cushion here of about a second to Will, which means all he has to do is bring it around the final lap. But Will's already closing on him again as they're now coming out of the last corner onto the start finish straight. Final lap of the race coming up very shortly here. Ryan Ruby up towards the line to start that final lap, just about managed to get over the line to start another lap here. So this is the final lap between these two. What a great duel it's been. Will though has got it all to do here on this last lap. He's got to reel in that gap, he's got to get onto the back of him and try and find a way through if he can. Ryan's just got to hold his nerve here. If he can keep it cool, keep it planted, stay within the white lines and keep it on the black stuff, then he will have a great opportunity of taking his first win here. Raki has got ahead of Luke up into third. He's been on the back of him the whole race, and Jelram and Game for Life will be jumping up and down at that one. Raki now on the podium spots here. Luke running in 4th, just behind him. Hegemar's running in P5. There's Lightblade, who's managed to get ahead of Hegemar's up into 5th. Great stuff from Lightblade there. Exeron and Didi going side by side in towards turn 3. Exeron has managed to get back ahead of Didi there, so those two having a great little scrap here on this final lap. Ryan has got Will very close on the back of him now. Will's closed that to within half a second, I think. I'm looking at the timing board there. It says 1.1, but it's definitely less than that. That is 4/5 tenths of a second between those two. Will's got a great run here. Can he use that toe? Can he get that extra speed through the slipstream up towards the end of the back straight? Ryan's going to hold on now, but 2 tenths between these two coming through this right-hander. Ryan always a little bit slippery through this corner. Let's hope that he can keep it together here with the pressure absolutely at full temperature here. He goes incredibly wide there onto the curb, but gets it round the corner. Will can't do anything about it, can't throw it down the inside. He's not close enough to send one. Ryan parking it on the inside of every corner, making sure he's hugging those apexes, giving Will absolutely nothing to go on. He's got a couple of corners left to go here in the Porsche Cup at Paul Ricard for round 5 of the season, the sprint race 9 of this season. Sean Freeman says Will should go full send at this point. I don't think he's got enough time, Freeman. I think he's not close enough. And Ryan's coming out of the final corner here for the race, the 9th race of the season, round 5 sprint race here at Paul Ricard. What a race, what a win for Ryan Ruby. Had the pace to take the fight to the champion and championship leader. Ryan Ruby is the winner here for the first race of the evening. What a battle between those two. Great stuff from these guys on the Motive Racing channel. Ryan takes the win ahead of Will Friedman. Raki's going to come over to take a podium spot. What a great drive from him. Kept the pressure on Luke all the way to the end and gets the reward for it. Luke van der Streets will be gutted to have lost the podium spot. Lightblade mugged Hegemar's at the end there to take 5th. Hegemar's comes over in 6th, Exeron 7th. Didi dropped off of Exeron a little bit in the closing stages there, and he comes over to take 8th place. Idris in 9th is coming through the final couple of corners now, and he was right with them up until the end there. Must have made a mistake with a couple of laps to go. He comes over the line there to take 9th place. John Jig in 10th will be coming over at some point pretty soon. But what a race there from the boys out on track. 10 drivers out on track for the Porsche Supercup here in the sprint race tonight. Big thank you to those who turned up, to those who are watching the stream. Drop a like on the video and show your appreciation for these drivers. What a show they've put on. And don't go anywhere, guys, because we got the feature race coming up after this. Bit of a shame tonight we couldn't obviously stream to Facebook, as Facebook is going through a bit of a meltdown tonight, so we're just streaming on the YouTube, which means that our view count a little bit lower than usual, guys. So please, if we can make up for that by dropping a like and showing your appreciation for these guys, it would mean the world to us. But yeah, we'll be back very shortly for the feature race qualifying session. Give us 5 minutes and we'll be back on for that. So yeah, in a bit.
seem to find a light between the walls I built for myself right in my mind. And then you came over and you showed me love that I never had seen before. Now, when I got you, it's all gonna be alright. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I. Just you and I. Only you can put the fire out. You can turn it all around. You can lift me off the ground, so we can fly again. 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 I've been trying hard not to go out of my mind. And all I need right now is for you to stay the night. But if you keep saying that you've got to leave, then I'm gonna be alright. As long as you tell me that we ain't running out of time. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I. Just you and I. Only you can put the fire out. You can turn it all around. And you can lift me off the ground, so
messing him up really in this race, but now he's got somebody very hot in his mirrors, and that's not going to be easy. He goes wide. Yeah, really deep into that corner, still side by side. Craig's got the inside, but it's right-hander, and I think he's holding position, but Darrell's continuing to put pressure on. He's putting it around the outside of him. Oh, Craig. He's going to have to get his elbows out here if he wants to hold on. Darrell backs out of it, coming in going to have straight line speed. As he looks to the inside, once again, Craig slams the door on him, but he's gone wide, he's gone deep into the corner once again, and Darrell did not need a second hit, but sticking to the outside here. He's going to try and use that side draft, I'm sure, to get around Emo Guy, but Emo Guy, I don't know if he's dropped a bit of downforce on that Lamborghini. It seems to be slightly quicker in a straight line to what it was in the first race, so he's presumably made a few tweaks to the setup there, as Maze Game is trying to go around the outside, but Emo Guy's holding his own, as Maze goes very deep into turn one, and he's going to go wide. I think Emo Guy should have hold that position on the inside. Is he? Yes, he's always going to squeeze him, and Maze is still there, and he's actually pulled off a great move there as Maze Gamer. He really set Emo Guy up for that throughout a few corners, and Maze Gamer now has second place, and Emo Guy's got to defend here from Miguelito. Miguelito's having a little look to the outside, coming into the chicane, but he holds him up also. Actually, no, it looks like Rompu's giving this slipstream to Amazing Pie Boy. Richie's going to try and go around the outside of both of them here. Or we're going to go 3 wide. It looks like Richie going side by side here with Rompu coming out to turn 1, and we are 3 wide. Right, Amazing Pie Boy to the inside as well. What's going to happen here? Somebody's got to give out. Surely, oh, so close. Amazing Pie Boy just pushing Rompu a bit wide, but Richie's mugged both of them there up into 6. Banking here, coming out onto the back straight now. What is going to happen between these two? X-Mark's on the inside, Dan on the outside now, side by side, coming up towards the Mustang chicane. What is going to happen here? Dan is just hanging out on the outside, but X-Mark's going to try and put it on the inside. Oh, they bang wheels, and Dan goes straight up the chicane, and it looks like he's going to get the position due to it. He's going to have to get that position back to X-Mark because he gained it off the track, and Sub-Zero is going to mug both of them, but surely he's going to get a penalty. He passed him off the track. Sub-Zero will inevitably get a penalty. Surely Dan's now out. X-Mark. Dan's back up into Kurt. Immediately gets a good start. Junior chucks into the slipstream, trying to get as much tow as he can, but Junior's got Dr. Benji looking to his outside, and he's Dr. Benji going to try and drive around Junior. Junior going laying out on the brakes on the inside. He's going to try and look back up the inside of Kurt, but Kurt's going to fend him off and holds on to the lead coming through the first couple of corners. Junior though looking to the inside, coming up towards turn 3. Is he going to be able to get the move done? And they're still side by side. These two championship contenders going toe to toe once again, and Junior has got the move done up into the lead. Comes into the chicane for the final time here. He took the win in the sprint race, did Sergey, our regular racer in a GT3 Tier 2 on a Sunday night. A regular commentator for a Project Cars 2 GT3 series as well. In towards the penultimate corner here, keeps it together, stays up that curve on the inside line. Sergey managed to hold off Dan in the sprint race to take his first win at Motive. He's going to take his second win in the feature race here. Holds off Lightmate in a brilliant fight for the win. Testing 1, 2, 3. Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen. We're here for the second race of the evening, the feature race for round 5 of the Porsche Supercup here at Motive Racing. Race 10 altogether. Qualifying session we saw a few moments ago, saw Lightblade doing a brilliant lap, but Freeman managed to go almost a second quicker at the end. I wonder if we saw the best of Lightblade in that session, or has he got a little bit more up his sleeve to try and offer Will a good challenge here in this race. Exteron, we lined up in P3 with Hegemars alongside him on the second row. Ryan Ruby looks like he's going to be starting this one from the back. Didn't get a lap in the qualifying session, so the race winner from the sprint race is going to have his work cut out here for this one, as the drivers are just coming in towards the final few corners of the formation lap here. So it's going to be Will who'll get us underway. Lightblade's just waiting for Will to get back ahead of him there. Lightblade's been playing a few little games with Will on this formation lap, been flashing his lights, moving ahead of him, trying to get into his head a little bit. Let's see if those games are going to pay off as we're about to go green here for the feature race. And it looks like we're lights out. It's green, green, green here at Motive Racing for the Porsche Super Cup here at Paul Ricard. And Exeron has got a drive-through penalty for jumping the start. By the looks of it, he's going to try and look up the inside of Lightblade and get up into second place and limit the damage here done. But Will Friedman needs coming into turn 1. Lightblade trying to hold it around the outside of Exeron, but Exeron is going to get himself up into second place despite having a drive-through. Lightblade's not going to be too pleased about that, that's for sure. Hegemars has been jumped by Idris. Idris is up into 4th place there. Nicely done from Idris, as Didi is just getting overtaken by absolutely everybody here. Raki's got ahead of him. Raki going side by side with Ryan. Ryan's got himself into the thick of it here already, and looks as though Will leads the way ahead of Exeron right now. Lightblade just behind Exeron in 3rd place. He'll be wanting to get ahead of him as soon as he possibly can. Idris there running in 4th. Hegemars in 5th. There's Luke, Raki, Ryan Ruby running in 8th place. Didi in 9th, and John Jiggs dropped off the back of the pack a little bit here at the start of this race. His first race, woes were just down to tyre pressure, so we'll see whether or not he can get on top of those for this one. But Will leads by just over a second here to Exeron. Lightblade in 3rd. Idris very close onto the back of Lightblade at the moment, with Hegemars, Luke van der Streets and Raki tied at the hip here. And also you got Ryan Ruby and Raki tied at the hip, as Raki's looking to try and make the move down the inside here of Ryan in towards the back end of the back straight. Can't get it done at the moment. He's but he's going to try the next corner here. They're still side by side. Ryan trying to hold it all the way around the outside here. Raki though is going to complete the move, I think. Is he? No, Ryan's still there, and still just about holding on to that position there. The number 44 banding it out, but Raki's gone wide, and that's going to allow Didi up into 8th place there. Raki having a bit of a moment there, and he's going to lose out by quite a bit. Still got John Jick just behind him at the moment, but Will leads ahead of Exeron, and Lightblade has got Idris hot on his mirrors here. Noticing that the previous timing board it was 800ths of a second, but it looks like he's shaking him off since then. Hegemar's running just ahead of Luke van der Streets at the moment. Luke's going to try and get a good exit out of this last corner if he can and get the run here on Hegemar's. Is he going to have enough tow? Is he going to get the slipstream here coming down the start finish? Drive through obviously for number 28 Exeron. He's not opting to take that just yet, but Lightblade's within 6/10 of him coming up towards the first corner. Will's already making a break for it out the front. He's got 1.4 seconds over Exeron. Idris there in 4th. Hegemar's running in P5, tagging the curve a little bit there as Luke van der Streets cuts the inside of turn 2, but gets away with it by the looks of it. Ryan, Didi, Raki and John Jig at the back of this pack right now. But Will looks like he's really on it here in this race too. He'll be frustrated that he let the win get away from him in the first race. Ryan Ruby drove an absolutely brilliant defensive race, but Will's managed to get out front in this one, and we'll be looking to right the wrongs here in this feature race. Exeron and Lightblade currently running within 6/10 of a second of each other. Idris, Hegemar's there, Luke van der Streets, Ryan Ruby, deedeeTKU, Raki and John Jig there at the top of your screen, just coming through the picture now. But 3 minutes into this feature race, no mandatory pit stop for this feature race here, ladies and gentlemen. It's a straight out sprint to the line, and currently Will holding the advantage here over Exeron, keeping that gap at around 1.4 seconds for the time being. Lightblade there within a second of Exeron. Idris, Hegemars, Luke Van der Streets, Ryan Ruby, deedeeTKU, Raki within 0.4 of a second of Deedee, and we're looking to try and get this move done on him. Obviously we saw Raki making a small mistake a couple of laps ago, just noticing there Luke Van der Streets going ever so wide there out of that corner. Deedee also had a bit of an error there, and that might allow Raki to swoop up the inside, but for the time being he's going to have to tuck in. He's not quite close enough at the moment. Lightblade now very close on the back of Exeron here as they're coming through the final sector of the lap 4, lap 2 of the feature race here for the Porsche Supercup. Is Exeron going to pull the trigger and come in and serve that drive-through penalty? He's got to do it at some point. He can't run away from it forever. He's got 3 laps to do it. If he doesn't do it within that 3-lap window, then there will be absolutely major repercussions for him come the end of the race. And he is coming in to do it now, so he's getting it done and out of the way. Oh no! Oh, he's crashed into the wall. Oh my goodness! Exeron there was coming in to serve that drive-through, but the wall has just gone and stung him on the front of his car, and Exeron is going to have major damage after that. I don't think he's oh, what a shame. Well, he's going to be oh, what a shame, well, oh, that's a real shame there for him. But Lightblade there riding within 3 seconds of Will at the moment. Lightblade, now that he's in clean air, may try and chase down Will at the front. Currently 2.4 between the two of them. Idris there in third. Hegemars within 0.7 of a second of Idris right now. Third a second back to Ryan, who's got Luke very hot on his heels here. Half a second between these two as they're battling it out over 5th and 6th. There's deedeeTKU, Raki in 8th. John Jigger's dropped a little bit off the pack at the moment, 5 seconds behind Raki at this point. But Lightblade maybe has got a pace to try to take the fight to Will here in this one. We'll have to see. Lightblade was in second on the qualifying session, lost the position pretty quickly to Exeron, down to Exeron's jump start. Couldn't get around him for the first part of the race. Will did gain 2/10 on Lightblade through that first sector there, so showing that the race leader still has got the pace advantage at this point, despite Lightblade being in some clean air. Idris there on the third has got Hegemars breathing down his neck here as Ryan, the sprint race winner in the background there, rising all over that curb. There's Luke, Deedee, Raki and John Jig running a little way off of these guys there in P9 here in this one. But Hegemar's looking to try and give Idris a good hold fight here in this feature race. These guys separated by half a second. They're dropping off of Will and Lightblade a little bit in this race so far. They got Ryan trying to get onto the back of them if he can. Ryan, as we said, won the sprint race, his first win at Motive in the Porsche Cup, I believe. So he'll be highly motivated to continue to run in this same vein of form as we see Deedee running wide there, and Raki's up the inside up into 7th place. He gains the position. Deedee down to 8th here in this feature race. Hegemar's still on the back of Idris right now, half a second between these two as they're coming over the line to complete the third lap of the race. Drive through is done and out of the way there for Exeron, and he emerges straight into the pack here. And anyone who needed that 100-meter braking board, please direct your complaints towards Exeron, because that was very naughty there. But Will Freeman leads the race by 2.8 seconds ahead of Lightblade at this point. Idris there running in third place in that final podium spot. He's got Hegemars very close to the back of him here, half a second between these two at the moment. Ryan now is very close on them as we see Hegemars taking the cone with him, but that wouldn't have done too much damage, I wouldn't imagine, to that Porsche Cup car. These things are pretty sturdy. A cone is going to maybe scratch the bonnet a little bit, but I can't imagine it's going to affect the aerodynamics in any way, shape or form. We've still got Luke there running in 6th. He's got 6/10 back to Deedee, and Raki still on the back of these guys, a second separating these three, battling it out over 6th place at the moment here in this one. Lightblade is still running in second. He's not really closing the gap to Will at the rate that he would be wanting to. It's kind of just staying the same between those two. They're matching each other, but that's not what Lightblade needs. He needs to be going considerably quicker than Will at this point if he is going to close up onto the back of him and give him a challenge for this race win. As we see Ryan ever so wide there, coming out of the corner at the end of the back straight, and still running in P5, still keeping onto his position. He's 3 seconds ahead of the battle between Luke Van der Streets and deedeeTKU. Deedee has got back ahead of Raki up into 7th place, but Luke's still on the, trying to weather this storm here with Deedee, as we see Ryan running wide again there, coming through that corner. Idris and Hegemars continuing to battle it out. Idris though driving an absolutely brilliant race here tonight in his feature race. Jumped in very late on, signed up to this Porsche Supercup today here at Motive. Only signed up to the championship today, and he's racing in his first ever event tonight. As we see Hegemars getting a little bit loose out of the final corner, and that's going to give Ryan an opportunity to take this move coming down the start finish straight. Here we go. Is he going to go side by side? No, he's going to tuck back in for the slipstream here. Is he going to be able to go for a move coming down towards the end of the start finish straight? He's going to have a little look to the inside. Is he going to send one down the inside here? Ryan's definitely thinking about it, but in the end he's going to have to think better. Oh no, his Hegemars goes wide onto the runoff area, and is Ryan going to be able to pick up the pieces there? Hegemars actually gains an advantage there by cutting the inside of turns 1 and 2. Ryan flashing his lights, not happy with that, and you can understand why, because Hegemars, you feel, probably would have lost that position had he not ended up cutting the inside of that corner. So yeah, I'll have to say I fully agree with Ryan on that one. He has every right to be very disgruntled with that. Deedee's still running in 6th place. He's got a second and a half back to RaKi running in 7th at this point, but Hegemars there just managing to keep onto the position, just down to cutting the corner a little bit. He's dropped him off the back of Idris ever so slightly. Ryan though is in that slipstream, and looks like this battle's still going on here for 3rd place. Lightblades close the gap here to Will Friedman. Look at this, 1.5 seconds between 1st and 2nd right now. Lightblades getting the work done, bringing that gap down, but having said that, Will took half a second back coming through that first sector there, so he started to respond a little bit. As we're 10 minutes into this feature race, we saw Ryan Ruby taking a win in the sprint race. He's not going to win this one, he's too far behind, but he is trying to get onto the podium if he can. He's on the back of Hegemars here, trying to find a way through. Hegemars is wide, and he gets a bit of a twitch there as he was going off of the track, and that's giving Ryan the position. Hegemars is getting a little bit onto the marbles, and Ryan does not need a second invitation, up into 4th place, can now try and challenge Idris for that final podium spot. Can Ryan make it 2 podiums tonight? Oh, no, not like that, he can't. Oh no, Ryan, oh, he's off the track. Oh no, it's all gone wrong for Ryan Ruby. Hegemars back up into 4th place there. Ryan having an absolute mare there, and he's now down in 5th place, and he's going to have Deedee breathing down his neck. In fact, has Deedee got ahead of him? I think he has. Oh, what a shame for Ryan. He's down to, I think that's 8th in this race. Is it 8th? I think it is 8th. He's going to have, that's Exeron, who is a lap down, just on the back of him there, but he is a lap down, is Exeron. I will hasten to make that point, but John Jig, where's John Jig in comparison to Ryan? He's about 5 seconds behind him, so Ryan Ruby having a major moment there. Scuderia Paul says, come on RaKi, I know he loves Paul Ricard. Well, RaKi's currently sat in P6 at the moment, 2 seconds off at the back of deedeeTKU. Hasn't had the race he'd have wanted in this feature race, but I don't know whether or not he really does love Paul Ricard. I would assume that that's a serious comment and not a sarcastic one, but I don't actually know for sure. We've lost 2 drivers from the race. We've actually lost 2 drivers. I'm not quite sure why or how, but we are now 2 drivers down on who we started with. We've lost Luke van der Streets from the race, and we've also lost, who have we lost? I'm trying to work out who we lost. We've lost Luke, and we've lost Luke and Hegemars. They've both retired from the race here in what is the very sort of early stages, really, only 12 minutes in. Luke did say that he might not be able to stay the distance here in this one, and it's transpired to be that exactly the way. So it's a real shame there for Luke and for Hegemars, but they've retired here in the early stages of this one. Will Freeman's gap to Lightblade 2 seconds out on the track. Lightblade continuing to keep Will very much on his toes here in the first part of this race. We're coming towards the sort of the halfway point-ish here in this one, but the race kind of just settling down a little bit now. You know, not really a whole lot going on at this point in the race, really, and there's not really any battles going on. Everybody's just kind of spread out a little bit, and the battles that were occurring have now been quickly stamped out, down to a couple of drivers leaving the race, but 1.5 seconds between Will and Lightblade at this point. Idris there running 6 seconds off at the back of Lightblade there. Deedee in 4th. He's 5 seconds behind Idris at this point. Couple of seconds back to RaKi running in 5th. There's Ryan Ruby in P6 at the moment, and he's got a bit of a gap back to John Jig, not too much, but just a little bit between those two. John Jig definitely will be looking to try and pick up the position if Ryan does make a mistake, but having said that, Ryan's already pulling out that gap by quite some considerable margin since his mistake coming out of the coming through the final sector what is now 2 laps to go, seeing as they're on the start of the next lap after the one that he had that spin on the final sector. But currently Will Freeman leads the race by 1.4 seconds at the moment, ahead of Lightblade. Lightblade's continuing to bring that gap down though. Definitely bringing this fight to him here. 8 drivers in this feature race here, so yeah, kind of yeah, I mean, yeah, Will just gained half a second on Lightblade coming to that part of the track. Seems like his car is set up for the straights. Lightblade's got some very heavy downforce on his number 777 Porsche, so that's probably the reason why he's able to go so quick through these parts of the track. But then Will is absolutely leaving him for dead going down that back straight. So right now these two kind of just tit for tat, and Will's got that gap of almost 2 seconds here to Lightblade at this point. Look at this between Will Freeman and Lightblade. Lightblade's bringing that gap down as we speak, and he's looking to the outside here, coming through the coming out onto the back straight here. Lightblade really made some great gains coming to that first sector there. It says 1.5 seconds on the timing screen. It's a lot less than that timing screen, so you're definitely having a bit of a mare tonight, aren't you? But look at this, Lightblade now in the slipstream here of Will Freeman. And is he going to be able to go for the lead here? Will definitely has a pace advantage coming down this part of the track. We've seen every single lap he manages to pull away by about half a second. What about with Lightblade in that slipstream? Can he use that slipstream to devastating effect from Will's perspective? And at the moment, Will holding on to that lead, but Lightblade absolutely throwing the kitchen sink at him at this point in the race. We're 15 minutes into this feature race. We've got 25 to go. The question is, can Will defend for 25 minutes against a driver like Lightblade? Lightblade, we know, is a driver who will happily sit behind you for a while and just keep putting that pressure on, keep psyching you out, and then will often just go for it on the final lap. Will throw caution to the wind and end up getting the win. We saw it a couple of seasons ago here in the Porsche Cup at Silverstone in the wet. We saw D-Crocs was leading the race all the way through in the feature race, right up until the last lap, and then Lightblade just forced him into a mistake, and that was Lightblade up into the lead and ended up taking the win that night. So can Lightblade do a similar thing to Will tonight? Will, we know, is a man who doesn't feel pressure, so he's got to kind of do it another way. He's got to maybe force Will into a mistake, i.e. just throw a little feint to the inside, or just go for his weaknesses in a way. But at this point, Will Freeman doing a great job out the front, still continuing to do the business, and he'll be looking to try and get this win for sure after the last race where he came second to Ryan Ruby. Will's not a man who likes to come second, especially in the Porsche Cup. The Porsches are really his forte. They're the ones where he really excels, and right now he has got the ascendancy here in this race. 6 tenths separating these two as we're on lap 9 here of the feature race. Obviously a 40-minute race with no mandatory pit stop. We're 17 minutes in with 23 minutes to go, and at the moment Will Freeman looks like he has got this under control, but Lightblade could change that at any moment, that is for sure. We know that for a fact. As down the back straight they come. I wonder if Lightblade's going to be close enough this time. I think probably not. So coming into the braking zone, Will Freeman's got half a second back to him. Will was a lot quicker down this part of the track when Lightblade wasn't in the slipstream, but now that Lightblade has got that slipstream each time, it means that he's able to stick with him much better than he was before. So this really played into Lightblade's hands, being able to get onto the back of Will and push it like he is now. It's definitely brought him into contention for this race win. Lightblade racing as a reserve tonight, not a regular in this Porsche Cup, can't race all the time. When he can, he always gives it a good go, and he's always up there at the sharp end. We saw him starting from the back for race 1 earlier this evening, and he came through to finish in 5th place. Starting in 2nd for this one. He's been up the sharp end since the beginning, was down to 3rd in the early laps, down to Exeron jumping the start and getting ahead of him, but since Exeron has been in for his drive through, he's done nothing but claw that gap down to Will Friedman, and right now the gap is 1.2 as they're starting the 10th lap of the race. Looks like Ryan is on the back of RaKi here. Look at this. These guys separated by 0.2 of a second right now. And Ryan's looking to the inside here of RaKi. RaKi's going to lead the car's width on the inside there. Is Ryan going to be able to throw this one down the inside here on RaKi? Here they come onto the brakes in towards turn 3. I think Ryan's going to have that done there up into 5th. Beautifully done there from Ryan. RaKi had to give him a car's width on the inside. He gave him a bit more than that. And Ryan is up into 5th. Beautifully done as Lightblade still on the back of Will here. Just over a second between these two, coming down the back straight here for the 10th time here in this race. Will still keeping him Lightblade at arm's length though, just keeping him out of reach, staying at that crucial jab range, and Will still keeping on to the lead. Bit of a gap back to this man Idris running in the final podium spot. And Idris doing a great job here tonight on his motive racing debut here. Did a decent job in the sprint race and has stepped it up a gear here in this one. It's quite a long way clear of Didi, who's running in 4th. Didi's got 2 seconds back to the battle between Ryan and RaKi, who are still separated by not much, but Ryan, having got that move done on RaKi, may look to try and just pull away from him here over the course of the rest of this race. Long way back to John Jig running in 7th. He's almost 14 seconds behind these guys at this point. And Exeron running in 8th place at the moment. But Will leads by 1.3 as we're coming over the line to complete the 10th lap of the race onto lap 11, and we're currently halfway through the feature race. Lightblade's just bringing the gap down little bits at a time. He gained about 1/10 of a second on that lap. These two are so evenly matched. I get the feeling that at this point Will is really pushing it. I'm going to be honest, I'm going to say straight up, a lot of the time you feel like Will isn't really pushing as hard as he can, but I know for a fact he is now on the limit here. He knows he has got a really tough proposition here with Lightblade out on the track, who will always take the fight to some of the best drivers on ACC on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 platforms. Lightblade is one of the best. Raced with this guy since Project Cars 2, probably must be about 3 years that I've raced with Lightblade, and he was unbelievably quick on Project Cars 2, as everybody who knows him and has raced with him will know. But on ACC he's comparatively even better, and at the moment he's keeping Will very much on his toes right now. Just over a second between these two, but this one is going to go all the way down to the last lap, I'm sure of that. Lightblade, as I said earlier on, is a driver who will keep persevering and keep you under pressure. Won't necessarily go for any dive bombs or late moves, but he will just sit there and wait and just work away at you, and just wait until you falter under the pressure, or get you to a point where he will just end up sort of just going for it. He'll just say, right, that's it, I'm throwing it down the inside, and he'll end up taking the win. So at this point, Will just keeping calm, staying composed, but how much longer is he going to be able to weather that storm? That is the big question at this point, as Ryan is now on the back of Didi, having got the move done on RaKi a lap or so ago. He is now very much in range to take this P4 here. Ryan only 5 seconds off of Idris from in the final podium spot. That's got to be Ryan's target for this race, I'm sure. He's got to be eyeing up a podium spot if he can in this one. As these guys are coming out of the final corner here, about to start their 12th lap of the race, and Ryan Ruby within 8/10 here, as Lightblade gained another 10th on Will on that last lap. But as I said before, the gap's not coming down at a major rates. It's just so even between these two out the front, and Lightblade is just working away. He's just making little moves on Will, but Will, on the whole, is staying consistent. And at this point in the race, I can't see Lightblade finding a way ahead of Will, because catching up is one thing, but overtaking is just a complete other ball game. And yeah, at the moment, Will Freeman and Lightblade trading fastest laps, but this one is going to go down to the wire between these two. RaKi's got the gap down to 0.7 of a second to Ryan. Ryan's dropped off at the back of DD a little bit so far on this lap, as we saw DD going, Ryan even going a little bit deep through that corner there, and DD might have an opportunity here to just breathe a sigh of relief, as Ryan not making the gains that Ryan would be wanting to on DD at this point. Gap up to 1.2 between Will and Lightblade. The gap's gone up by 0.3 so far on this lap, but the final sector is where Lightblade absolutely excels. Are we going to be seeing him putting Will under a bit more pressure here towards the end of this lap? As RaKi's now 0.6 off of the back here of Ryan Ruby, but looks like that gap's gone up a little bit. Ryan's closed up onto the back of DD, and RaKi's dropped off of him since that checkpoint. But deedeeTKU still running in P4 right now. Ryan Ruby breathing down his neck here though. Gap's gone up between Will and Lightblade, now just under 2 seconds between those two, so it obviously was under a second this time a lap ago. Will really did pull one out of the bag there on that lap. I don't know if Lightblade made a mistake or what happened, but yeah, the gap definitely went up between those two on that lap. Ryan continuing to hound and hassle the back of DD, as RaKi's now dropped off of these two a little bit. He's now 1.4 seconds off of the back of these two, fighting it out over 4th place. Lightblade's gained a half a second on Will coming through that first sector, but obviously Will had that stormer of a lap on the previous lap and took the gap up to almost 2 seconds. Lightblade's trying to come back at him here in the first part of lap 13. DD still just running ahead of Ryan Ruby. These two trying to pull away from RaKi if they can. RaKi seems to not be on the pace here in the feature race that he was in the sprint. We saw a similar story last week as well with RaKi. He was extremely good in the sprint race, came P2 in the sprint race last week at Barcelona, but then the feature race, it just all seemed to go Pete Tong for him. He might have a bit of damage on the car on that number 43 that could be potentially affecting him ever so slightly. Not 100% sure what that is, but at the moment he's just well, he's closed a little bit on that sector. I've got to say, we'd gained 0.3 on DD and Ryan coming through that part of the lap. Ryan just dropped off of DD ever so slightly coming through that section of the track there, but he's now closed right back onto the rear of him once again. Look at this, they're bumper to bumper here. Could Ryan potentially be in with a shout of getting him down the start finish straight if he can be in that situation? He's flashing his lights there, Ryan. Bit of bravado here, trying to get into the head of DD if he can. Last 2 corners of the lap, is Ryan going to be able to get this cutback coming out the final corner? Look at that, DD wide, but Ryan had to check himself there as he got onto the throttle a little bit too aggressively and ended up getting a poor run out of the corner. DD can breathe a sigh of relief as RaKi's now on the back of Ryan coming down the start finish straight, but Ryan's going to have the legs just about to stay ahead of RaKi at the moment. In towards turn 1 they come, but Ryan living dangerously, trying to get ahead of DD there, ended up leaving himself vulnerable to the attack of RaKi. Will still just ahead of Lightblade, but Lightblade's got the gap down to 0.7 of a second here at the front, so Lightblade is absolutely piling on the pressure here with 13 minutes left to go here in this feature race. This one is absolutely on between these two. This is going to be an absolutely brilliant race between these two in the closing laps of this feature race. It's been nip and tuck between these two for the whole way. Lightblade's been bringing the gap down over the course of this race, but has he got anything here to offer Will? Has he got anything left in his locker to put the pressure on? Just under a second even separating these two at this point. DD's got half a second back to Ryan as they're coming down this long back straight, but Ryan has really made gains in the first sector here. He's going to look to the inside into the braking zone. Is he going to be able to get him? DD a little bit wide there. And is Ryan going to be able to capitalise? He's going to go up the inside for the next corner. Ryan Ruby might be able to finally take this P4 position. He's done it there on the brakes. Ryan going a little bit deep into the corner though. Can Didi come back at him here? No, Ryan's going to swoop around the outside up into 4th place, and he's finally made that move here, but Didi's still there, and Raki now trying to feast on these scraps as Didi gets all sorts of sideways there, coming through that left-hander, and now Raki's looking to the outside of Didi. Can he try and get a better run coming through this part of the track and maybe set himself up for the final corner? This is great racing from these drivers here, as now Ryan up into 4th place. The timing screen still hasn't updated itself, but I promise you he is in 4th place, and Didi now trying to hold on to 5th here with Raki all over the back of him, coming out of the last corner to complete their 14th lap of the race. Gap between Will and Lightblade, 9/10 of a second. Is so tight between these two at the front. They've been going at it hammer and tong since the early stages of this race. We got Ryan now in 4th place. He's got a second back to Didi, and Raki's 2/10 but to the shy of Didi coming into turn 1, but can't find a way around him at the moment. Cuts the inside of turn 2 there, does Raki, and he'll have to back off a little bit for that one. He'll have got a warning from track limits for that one. So still behind him for the time being. Ryan there running in 4th. Didi 5th. Is now dropping off of Ryan a bit. Raki's trying to knock Didi while he's down if he can. Will is just under a second ahead of Lightblade at the moment though, and Lightblade giving him a really good scrap in this one, but Will's gained a little bit of time there on Lightblade coming through that first sector. 1.6 between these two. 11 minutes left on the clock for this feature race. Will looks like he's started to click into gear a little bit. He's now put the pedal down and is starting to find his true pace here, the pace that we saw in the qualifying session. Can Lightblade match that? That is the big question here in the closing stages of this race. Has Lightblade got what it takes to take the fight to the Porsche Supercup champion, the championship leader, the man who's dominated most of this series so far here for season 3 here on ACC at Motive on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 platforms? Ryan has got 0.8 of a second back to Didi. Didi tried to keep ahead of Raki. He's still managing to do it, but Raki's absolutely throwing everything at him as he goes a little bit wide there. That will have just stopped his charge a little bit. He's looking to the inside there of Didi. Didi's still holding it around the outside for the time being. Will leads by just under 2 seconds here to Lightblade coming into turn 1. Lightblade's continuing to try and put the pressure on if he can. Idris there in that final podium spot coming out of the final corner. He's driven a great race tonight as Idris. He's got 5 seconds back to Ryan. Has Ryan got the pace to chase after Idris in the final few laps of this race? That's another question that we're going to find out. Ryan is now putting space between himself and Didi. Now 2.6 between those as Raki's still trying to find a way ahead of Didi. Can't do it at the moment. Scuderia Paul says that was a nice battle for P4. More of that please. Absolutely Paul. Couldn't agree with you more on that one. They are really putting on a bit of a show right now, but Ryan starting to pull out the gap to these two. Didi and Raki battling over P5 here in the closing laps of this race. Ryan maybe can try and chase down Idris now as the gaps come down by half a second coming through the first sector. Will has got over 2 seconds to Lightblade now. He's continuing to put out that gap, and Ryan's got a drive through. Oh no, Ryan's picked up a drive through penalty for cutting corners, and he's going to have to come into the pits at the end of this lap. What a shame there for Ryan Ruby. Oh, you've got to feel for Ryan just as he was getting into a groove, seemed to be really bringing that gap down to Idris. It's all gone horribly wrong just as he was starting to turn things around and really go for it. It's just the stewards have just decided to shoot him in the foot and be like, nah, you ain't getting away that lightly. But he's currently gonna have to come into the pits for a drive-through penalty for cutting the track. So Idris is going to be let off the hook a little bit in that final podium spot. So unfortunate there for Ryan. What a shame for you, mate. Will Freeman still leads by just over 2 seconds at the moment over Lightblade, and Will Freeman looking set to take another win here, but Lightblade's going to keep pushing him all the way to the checkered flag. We know that for sure. It's all about how much grit and determination Lightblade has got in the final few laps of this race. Will's really responded to him over these last couple of laps and could be set to get the job done once again here. The champion of the Porsche Supercup here, Will Friedmann, also this season's championship leader, one of our ACC league coordinators here at Motive. Our standings man does a hell of a lot in terms of the admin stuff here at Motive, and right now with 8 minutes to go, looks set to take another win here. He's going to right the wrongs from the sprint race this evening where he came up second best to Ryan Ruby as Ryan put on an absolute masterclass of defensive driving here in the sprint race. Drive-through penalty for Ryan, as we said. He will have to serve that within the next 2 laps. If he doesn't, there will be hell to pay for him. But Raki running in 5th place. He's got half a second back to deedeeTKU coming into turn 1, and oh no, Lightblade's got a drive through as well. Oh no, thought we were going to have a battle for the lead, but Lightblade's picked up a drive-through. Oh, you got to feel for Lightblade there. He's been cutting corners as well. Well, he's going to have to come in and serve that within the next 3 laps of the race. That's now just ruined the battle for the lead, but RaKiMaJe's still running in 5th place. He's got 6 tenths back to DD at the moment, as these two are currently joined at the hip here, as they're now coming out onto the back straight here for the 17th time in this race. But Lightblade within 2 seconds of the race leader will. It's all going to be completely gone to waste here for Lightblade, as he's going to have to come in and serve that drive through before the end of the race. But DD currently got close on the back of RaKiMaJe right now. Let's hope that neither of these two get a drive through as well. But coming down towards the end of the back straight, 2 tenths of a second between these two. DD pretty close into the braking zone. They come onto the brakes now, and DD still not close enough to get the move done here on RaKiMaJe, but he's breathing down his neck, giving him a lot of pressure here. Scuderia Pulse's track limit violations are fairly easy to incur at Paul Ricard. Yeah, I'm seeing that, to be honest, Paul. It seems to be uncompromising out there right now. The stewards here at Paul Ricard are very, very strict. So the gap now between Will and Lightblade's come down. I wonder if Lightblade's just maybe thinking, well, I've got a drive through, so I might as well just pin it all at this point and just cut all the corners and try and give a good show on the stream. But he's doing that at the moment. Less than a second between these boys at the front. They're 20 seconds clear of Idris in 3rd place, as Ryan's got to serve it on this lap. He's got to come in at the end of this lap. Gap is 5 seconds to Idris. He's brought the gap down to the man in the final podium spot, but it's all going to go to waste. RaKiMaJe's managed to put out a bit of a gap to DD, now 1.4 between those two in the battle for 5th and 6th places. Will and Lightblade separated by half a second here as they're coming out onto the back straight, but Lightblade will have to come in and do that drive through soon. But he's currently really giving us a good show out the front, giving this fight to Will. I wonder what he's got up his sleeve here. Lightblade obviously doesn't need to come in at the end of this lap, but he will need to come in at the end of the lap after this one, so he'll be aware of that. 3 tenths between these two coming up towards the braking zone. He's still not able to get ahead of him at the moment, as these two are so close here with 5 minutes left to go in this feature race. What a race we've had here on the Motive Racing channel tonight. We've had non-stop action across the sprint and feature races. For round 5 of the Porsche Supercup Season 3 on Assetto Corsa Competizione on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 platform. Lightblade jumping in very late as a reserve tonight, and he has absolutely risen to the occasion. He's done a superb job here tonight, has Lightblade, when you consider the fact that he had very short notice getting into this one. He's got experience in these Porsche Cup cars, and that is showing, that really is shining through. It's a shame really, because if he had had the time to prepare for the race, then he might have really had a good shot at winning this. And I mean, he's had a very good shot of winning it nonetheless, you know, regardless. But maybe we could have seen him do it without having to violate the track limits. But 8 tenths between these two at the moment as they're coming into turn 1 for the 19th time here in this race. 4 minutes left here at Paul Ricard for the feature race for round 5 of the Porsche Supercup, and looks as though Will's going to hold on to take the win. He will take the win guaranteed, but can he hold on ahead of Lightblade for this final lap until Lightblade needs to come in and do that drive-through penalty? Ryan Ruby's coming in to get that drive-through penalty done and out of the way at the final attempt, as there are currently 7 tenths of a second separating Will Friedman and Lightblade at the moment, as they're now coming out onto the back straight here. Lightblade lost a bit of time coming to that first sector there, which maybe would have just knocked his chances of getting ahead of Will before he comes in and does that drive-through penalty. These guys now 22 seconds clear of Idris. They have been in a class of their own here tonight. Ryan's come out a second behind DD, so could be in with a shout of getting up into... oh no, hold on, no he's not. He's actually just behind John Jig. So he'll be looking to try and get ahead of John Jig before the end of this race and get himself back up into 6th place. Timing board saying that Ryan's in 6th and John Jig's in 7th. That's a massive lie there. He's actually in 7th behind John Jig. But Lightblade currently half a second off at the back of Will Freeman at the moment. Idris has got 8 seconds back to RaKiMaJe. He should be safe in that P3 on his Motive debut tonight. Big shout out to Idris. RaKiMaJe's got 3 seconds back to DD and looks set to take home P4 in this one, managing to capitalise there on Ryan's woes. Could he even be on for a podium here if Lightblade, when Lightblade comes in through his drive-through, maybe that will promote Raki up into third, and Idris could be on for a P2 here in only his second race on the channel. This is his first appearance tonight. Obviously 2 races for the Porsche Cup. He was put on a good show in the first race and has really stepped up in the second race, but Lightblade's into the pits for his drive-through penalty. That will give Will a bit of a walkover for these final couple of laps. He's just coming in towards the final few corners here. He's about to start his 20th lap of this race here at Paul Ricard. Got Raki there fourth, 8 seconds behind Idris at this point, 3 seconds further back to deedeeTKU running in 5th. Ryan, having served that drive through, is now ahead of Jonjig up into 6th. So no, hold on, no he's not. Why are you lying for a timing screen? What again? Come on. Well, Lightblade's out of the pits, he's got that done, but where is Idris? Idris is ahead of him. Idris is in second, I think. Yes, I'm sure he is, but crucially for Lightblade, he's come out ahead of Raki, so Lightblade's still in second place. That pit lane isn't too bad here at Paul Ricard, so Lightblade is in third place and will be able to bring it home for the podium spot here. Really nice drive from Lightblade, so unfortunate with the drive-through penalty, but it looks like he's going to get away with it, in terms of he's only going to lose 1 position and still be on the podium. So lucky boy there for Lightblade. Obviously, well, not lucky, I've got to say, he did do a very good job, considering that him and Will managed to pull such a massive gap to the other guys. He's actually earned his podium, and despite the drive-through, is going to pick up some very good position here in this race. But he's got 4 seconds back to Raki at the moment, running in 4th place. He's got a further 3 seconds back to Dede. Ryan has finally now well and truly cleared Jonjig for 6th place. He's now 4.5 seconds clear of Jonjig, who's running in 7th. Exeron still going tonight here in this race. He's kept with it, has kept pushing, has never stopped going here. He's running in 8th place at the moment and will pick up some fantastic points here for his championship. Absolutely well done to you, mate, for keeping going and keeping persevering. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. We've got Will leading this race, and he's on, or I think it's going to be the final lap of the race, as he's coming in towards the final few corners here at Paul Ricard. Will Friedman took 2nd place in the sprint race to Ryan Ruby, pushed him all the way but couldn't find a way through. He qualified on pole position for this feature race out of Lightblade. Lightblade really pushed him all the way, but Will managed to stand up to any of Lightblade's advances, and is going to take the checker flag here to take the win at Paul Ricard for the feature race here in the Porsche Supercup, round 5 of the season, race 10. Well done to Will Freeman. Slowed down so much at the end that Idris was only 1.5 seconds behind him. Idris comes over in 2nd place. Lightblade completes the podium. Great drive from Lightblade as a late stand-in tonight, racing as a ringer, and really stepped up to the plate brilliantly. Raki comes over to take 4th, Dede 5th. Ryan Ruby is going to come out of the final corner here, and it's going to be a 6th place finish for Ryan in the number 44 Union Jack colours. Well done to you, mate, on the sprint race win, and unfortunately the feature race just got away from you a little bit, but nonetheless a great showing from yourself. Jonjig is going to come over the line to finish in 7th place, 7 seconds behind Ryan Ruby. Extron will be the last man to finish the race, as he's on his final lap now. He's just coming through the final half a lap here is Exeron, and the number 28 is going to pick up some fantastic points. 8th place gives you a very decent haul of points here at Motive, so he will be rewarded for sticking with it and for not giving up and not just saying, that's it, I'm done. But he's kept going, he's kept believing, and he's pushed all the way, and ultimately he's going to be rewarded for that, which is brilliant. Will Friedman, though, is your winner for tonight. Ended up weathering the storm from Lightblade and taking a very, very impressive win, managing to go one better from his sprint race. The championship leader extending his gap at the top of the points, and he will also be looking like even stronger here this season to defend his Porsche Supercup crown. Exeron's coming through the final few corners now. I think he's just crossed the line there to finish the race in 8th place. Hedgemars and Luke van der Streets both bit the dust before the end, finished in, well, classified in 9th and 10th, but won't get points seeing as they didn't finish enough for the race. But Will Friedman is your winner. Congratulations to Idris and Lightblade on the podium spots. Thanks to everybody who joined us on the stream. Scooter Paul, Freeman, Ryan obviously chimed in after his win. Game for Life, Gelram. Thank you guys for joining us and for popping up in the comment section as well. Drop a like on the video, ladies and gentlemen, if you did enjoy the stream. If you want to get involved, go to www.motiveracing.com, and we will catch you in the next one. Have a great evening, and see you.
string of hits on his own and with the rock band Wings.